When we talk about boosting immunity, most people immediately think of supplements, superfoods, or intense workout routines. But the most powerful immune booster is something far more fundamental: sleep. Not just rest in a casual sense, but deep, consistent, restorative sleep. Because sleep is not a passive state, it is an active biological strategy your body uses to defend you. While you are asleep, your immune system shifts into high-performance mode. Specialized immune cells, including T cells, become more efficient at identifying and targeting threats. Your body increases the production of cytokines, proteins that act as messengers, coordinating the attack against viruses and bacteria. Antibodies are strengthened. Inflammation is regulated. It is almost as if your body holds a private strategy meeting every night, reviewing the day's exposures and preparing a smarter response for tomorrow. From a psychological perspective, this is fascinating. We often associate strength with action, movement, effort, visible productivity. But immunity teaches us something deeper. Real strength is built in recovery. The body does not fortify itself during stress. It fortifies itself after stress, provided you allow it the space to do so. Sleep is that space. When you consistently shorten your sleep, you are not simply feeling tired. You are weakening your body's communication network. Research shows that even one night of poor sleep can reduce immune cell efficiency. Over time, chronic sleep restriction elevates stress hormones like cortisol, which suppress immune function and increase inflammation. You may not notice it immediately, but your biological resilience begins to erode. Philosophically, this challenges the modern belief that sacrificing sleep is a sign of discipline or ambition. In truth, neglecting sleep is neglecting your first line of defense. It is choosing short-term productivity over long-term vitality. So if you want stronger immunity, begin with respect for your body's need to restore itself. Prioritize sleep not as a luxury, but as a non-negotiable foundation of health, because the quality of your defense tomorrow is decided by the quality of your sleep tonight. Now, building on that foundation, we need to go deeper. Because not all sleep is equal. It is specifically deep, restorative sleep that transforms your immune system from reactive to resilient. This stage of sleep, often called slow-wave sleep, is where the real biological repair happens. It's not just about closing your eyes for 7 or 8 hours. It's about reaching those deeper cycles where your physiology recalibrates itself. During deep sleep, your body shifts energy away from external engagement and directs it inward. Growth hormone is released, stimulating cellular repair and tissue regeneration. Inflammation, which naturally accumulates from daily stress, begins to settle. Damaged cells are repaired, energy stores are replenished. Your immune system doesn't just fight, it rebuilds. And this rebuilding is essential because immunity is not only about attacking invaders, it's about strengthening the terrain they attempt to invade. There is also something profoundly intelligent happening at the level of immune memory. Your body catalogs the pathogens it encounters and refines its response for the future. Deep sleep strengthens this adaptive memory. It enhances the efficiency of immune cells so that when a similar threat appears again, your response is faster and more precise. In a very real sense, deep sleep is where your body learns. Psychologically, this mirrors how growth happens in life. We do not grow merely from experience, we grow from reflection. Deep sleep is biological reflection. It is the integration phase. Just as the mind needs quiet to process lessons, the immune system needs depth to process exposure. Without that depth, experiences remain fragmented and resilience weakens. When deep sleep is compromised, whether by stress, late-night screen exposure, irregular schedules, or chronic anxiety, repair becomes incomplete. The body accumulates small deficits. You may still function, but you are operating below potential. Over time, this gap widens, and susceptibility increases. The message here is subtle but powerful. True strength is built in unseen hours. Deep sleep is not wasted time. It is strategic renewal. If you want an immune system that responds with precision rather than panic, you must protect the depth of your sleep, because it is in the quietest phase of the night that your body prepares you to face the loudest challenges of the day. And this brings us to an uncomfortable but necessary truth. Poor sleep does not simply reduce energy. It weakens your immune intelligence. When sleep becomes fragmented or consistently shortened, the immune system does not get the coordinated recovery time it requires. Instead of operating with precision, it becomes dysregulated. One of the first changes we see with sleep deprivation is an elevation in cortisol, the primary stress hormone. In small amounts, cortisol is useful. It helps you respond to immediate challenges. But when it remains chronically elevated due to inadequate sleep, it suppresses immune cell activity and increases systemic inflammation. Your body enters a subtle but persistent state of stress, and in that state, long-term defense becomes compromised. Studies show that even partial sleep restriction, losing just a few hours per night, can reduce the activity of natural killer cells, which are critical in identifying virus-infected and abnormal cells. This is not dramatic in the short term. You may still feel functional, but biologically, your resilience is declining. You become more susceptible to common infections, slower to recover, and more prone to inflammatory conditions. Sleep deprivation alters emotional regulation. You become more reactive, more anxious, less patient. That psychological stress feeds back into the body, amplifying inflammatory pathways. In other words, lack of sleep creates a loop. Biological stress increases psychological stress, and psychological stress further weakens biological defense. Philosophically, this challenges the culture of endurance we often celebrate. We praise the person who functions on 4 or 5 hours of sleep as disciplined or driven. But discipline without restoration is self-sabotage. The body keeps score. It may tolerate neglect temporarily, but it never ignores it permanently. When sleep is compromised, immunity does not collapse overnight. It erodes quietly. That is what makes it dangerous. You do not feel the damage in real time. You experience it later in vulnerability, fatigue, and slower healing. So understand this clearly. Sacrificing sleep is not a minor trade-off. It is a direct negotiation with your immune strength. And over time, the body always collects the debt. If you value resilience, stop normalizing exhaustion. Protect your sleep as seriously as you protect your ambitions, because without it, your strength is only an illusion. So the natural question becomes, if sleep is this powerful, how do we protect it in a world that constantly competes for our attention? The answer is not complicated, but it does require intention. Strong immunity is often the result of simple, disciplined habits practiced consistently. First, consistency matters more than perfection. Your immune system thrives on rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day regulates your circadian clock, which directly influences hormone release, immune signaling, and cellular repair. When your schedule is erratic, your biology becomes confused. But when your rhythm is stable, your internal systems synchronize. Predictability strengthens physiology. Second, create an environment that signals safety and restoration. Darkness stimulates melatonin production, which not only regulates sleep but also acts as a powerful antioxidant within the body. A cool, quiet room reduces microawakenings that disrupt deep sleep cycles. Even something as simple as reducing screen exposure an hour before bed lowers cognitive stimulation and stress hormone activation. These are small adjustments, but biologically, they are profound. Third, respect the transition into sleep. Many people attempt to fall asleep immediately after intense mental activity, emails, social media, stressful conversations. But the nervous system does not switch off instantly. A short wind-down routine, reading, light stretching, reflection, controlled breathing, tells the brain that vigilance is no longer required. And when the brain feels safe, the body follows. There is also a psychological discipline here. Choosing sleep over late-night distraction is an act of self-respect. It is saying, my long-term vitality matters more than short-term stimulation. In a culture that glorifies busyness, protecting sleep becomes a quiet form of strength. None of these habits are extreme. You do not need expensive tools or complicated systems. You need awareness and consistency. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, protected intentionally, will do more for your immune resilience than most quick fixes ever could. Ultimately, boosting immunity through sleep is not about doing more. It is about interfering less with the body's natural design. When you align with that design, health becomes less of a struggle and more of a consequence. Tonight, choose restoration over distraction, because the strength you build in the dark determines the power you carry into the light.